Hello, Levy.
Hi.
Hi. Another
Happy
Friday one
Friday.
down.
Woohoo! This is I'm not sure how many now. Is it like 5 or 6 that we've done, I think?
Well, I know one thing is we've been consistent, so yay.
Yay for us, because you
We
and I
made
are
it
not
work.
the best. We're not the best on consistency, for those of you out there who can relate. And that's one of the keys, is to be out there on a regular basis. And we recognized, Sharon and I, at one point, that's not our strength. So we were going to try to hold each other accountable for staying consistent. And here we are. This is
And here we
awesome.
and we
Yeah. How
even came to you from a ski hill. Well, Leanne did.
Who knows? Well, we'll be maybe shortly from Portugal, huh?
Yes,
Yeah, that'll
definitely.
be fun.
That would be fun.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be a little bit later for us, because I think we're 5 or 6 hours ahead of Portugal. So it'll be like 8
Yes.
at night on
Yes.
Friday.
So my son tells me now, since we've changed time, it's 5 hours difference.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
So
Today we wanted to talk a little bit about wellness and women's wellness, and we thought it'd be kind of fun if maybe I do a little bit more like interview style with you, because you have so many experiences with clients who come to you on a regular basis. And you mentioned to me, and a lot of times I hear from ladies and I send them your way, dealing with stress and being on medication and having challenges with hormones and everything. So what is in terms of kind of let's start with hormones and menopause, just to start with, because a lot of people just think it's inevitable. You have to deal with it. There's nothing else you can do. And I talked to someone just yesterday, and she's like, yeah, I've been living with it for years. And, so tell us a little bit about a different perspective than that. Give women hope out there.
yeah. Oh, your brother just came on to hear about women's hormones.
Oh,
awesome.
Hi, Bruce. That's great. Nice you're supporting us, Bruce.
Always, always. So first of all, I want to say that I'm 65, and obviously, and I went through menopause about 10 years ago and really I'm happy to say I hardly had any symptoms. So it's not inevitable. It doesn't have to be. So there's many things to look at when we're looking about hormones. First of all, there's a lot of women say, well, my mother and my grandmother had horrible hot flashes, so I do. One thing to understand is only 5 to 10% of what we experience is genetic, and the rest is possible and probable behaviors that we're continuing or copying without even sometimes being conscious of it, right?
Like what kind of behaviors?
Well, beliefs that we tell, things that
yeah
leads to behaviors. Exactly. So things that we tell ourselves, possibly, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, or my mother had hot flashes, I certainly will too. We tell ourselves these stories, and so and we perpetuate them. So it's really important to realize that changing our environment, right, changes everything. Changing our thoughts changes everything.
Changing what we put in our body, because our mothers grew up in, depends on what your age, but they grew up 20 years before, right? So
yes,
it's really important to kind of see that their nutrition and environment was very different. Can you hear my dog in the background barking?
Your beautiful dog.
Beautiful one. We're trying to do a live. Anyways, I'll try to get him up here quiet. Can you talk to that idea?
Sorry, I was just a little distracted. What did you say?
So mind fog and menopause is not a real thing. No,
Yeah,
it's all about how the nutrition and the different environment that our parents maybe lived with,
Yes,
was
absolutely.
different.
Well, there's the good, the bad, about that. So I have to say now that we're a little bit more challenged in the area of your nutrition, in the area of what is sprayed on our food. So we have herbicides, pesticides, glyphosate. Glyphosate has been sprayed on a lot of our grand crops, like our wheat and our corn crops, for the last 20 years. Cotton, many different things. And that works like a low-grade antibiotics in the body. So it definitely could affect our hormones. The toxicity of our cells affects our hormones too. So we live with a lot of air pollution. We have water pollution more than our grandparents did. I would say we live with a lot more of that. So it's really important to take care of our livers in the springtime, right about now, to do a little cleanup. These poor livers get congested. They work so hard. And our hormones are metabolized in our liver.
Exactly. So what about stress and how stress relates to, because, it's interesting you say, because my mother didn't have very much in terms of menopausal symptoms. And I didn't almost at all either. So there's also the belief, possibly, that, but also I didn't, during my life, my actual cycle and stuff like that didn't bother me that much either. So I didn't have mood swings and anything like that. So I'm wondering if maybe my hormones didn't go up and down as much as maybe other ladies' hormones, or is it just more of a belief system?
Beautiful. So belief is huge. I love it. I love that you said that. Belief is huge. The second thing is that this is very, very interesting. So as we bleed each month, it's an opportunity. It's a beautiful thing, although sometimes it doesn't seem so beautiful. But because we think about it, a woman has an opportunity to cleanse herself every month. And in the olden golden days, or some in native communities, that time is sacred. That time is spent for a woman to go inside and reflect on my life. How is my life? What's working, what's not working, and what are the things I may need to change for my health and wellness. In this fast-paced day and age, who takes the time for that? It's like you have period cramps, you're bleeding, who cares? It's like, go to work, do your thing. You're busy taking care of kids, going to work, maybe taking care of older parents, and you're on the run all the time. So we don't take always the time for reflection. I find if we don't do that, and we have a lot of perceived stress, okay? So let me just say, most of our stress is perceived, where we perceive there's no escape, there's no way out, there's no possibility, right? And that has us be in great fear. So when we're in that state of high stress, we're producing a lot of cortisol, which imbalances the estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, DHEA, everything else, okay? It's all a very delicate balance. So it's really important to be aware and awake of these states of what we tell ourselves, the stories that we tell ourselves when we feel like there's no escape, there's no way out, I'm screwed, right? And then we watch what goes on in our body, right? Our heart rate goes like this, our breathing is shallow, right? Things are all over the place. So that's when I tell women, stop. We need to stop, because in that moment, Leanne, are we in the moment? In this moment? No.
Yeah, and sometimes it's our thoughts, but sometimes our emotions are being driven and we're not even thinking about it. It's the reverse kind of happening. I think about like when my husband died, I went into, huge shock and grief. Wasn't shocked that I didn't know it was going to happen, but there's still a shock that happens to your whole system, your nervous system, everything like that. And that shut down my whole system. And I went immediately at 46 into menopause, like boom. And it wasn't like I was thinking anything, or I wasn't thinking, you know, yes, I was thinking from the grief perspective, the loss and everything like that, but it was the emotion that created that like reaction in my body so quickly, you know. So what do you
Definitely.
think about that?
Trauma
The
will do
emotion.
that.
Yeah.
I hear that often
Mm-hmm.
because it's like a state where we don't feel safe
Yeah.
anymore. It's
Yeah, exactly.
like your safety net or your grounding force was taken away.
Mm-hmm. What was so important to me in my life, right?
What was so important to you in your life.
Yeah, ultimately,
Exactly.
you know, your
Exactly.
kids, your partner, being able to have a roof over your head, friends. After that, it's like, okay, that's your root chakra, right? That's your, as you said, the grounding force. So
Yes.
what other things, you know, in terms of stress causing women to, like, what would you say to a woman who comes to you and says, hey, I've been, you know, going through, you know, I'm on medication for stress because I have a lot of symptoms of menopause and hormonal imbalance and everything like that. I've been on this medication for years. I don't see a way out. What can I do? Where do you start with people?
Okay. So I'm just going to back up for a
Sure.
minute because I started a thought and then I realized I derailed myself somewhere.
Sorry, I did that to you.
I don't think it was you. It was probably me. But anyway, so when I was saying that, you know, women would go and reflect each month, right, at this sacred time, if we never took the opportunity to do that and check in on ourselves and see, what do I need today? Maybe there's someone I need to talk to because things aren't working out well. Maybe I need to tell my spouse or my children what I need. I don't really put my needs first, but if I've never reflected on this and I'm just going through the motions of life, go to work, make the kids lunch, take them to daycare, do this, do that, do that, do that, then I've never reflected in. And these are the women that usually I see have worse symptoms throughout the times where they have their period. If this is never looked at and reflected upon, it seems these are the majority of the women that have more severe menopausal symptoms.
That's so important there. I'm glad you didn't derail yourself. You derailed yourself back because and so that is, it was interesting because I said my link is through my periods. I didn't really have a lot of challenges and you know, no, like my husband never said, oh, you know, it's that time of the month. I never had that. And I had very little experiences in menopause. And the reverse is true, is kind of what you're saying. And I've always been very introspective since I was like, well, since I, you know, first as a
Yes.
teenager, always doing that check-in. I wouldn't necessarily do it at that time, but it's something that I always would. And when you're talking about that, I can think of many people who are not and haven't done that, and they have so, it's like their body's trying to talk to them at least once a month,
Yes.
if not other ways, their hips, their shoulders, their arms, their legs, and it's screaming at them, and they're not really doing that introspective work. And so, not surprising, every stage they get to in life, when they get to menopause or they get to older, when their bones are more brittle and they're having trouble with osteoporosis, and then the next stage and their hip goes out and all those kind of things, because their body's talking to them all the time and they're not listening.
Yes. Beautiful.
That's a eureka. That's amazing. That's awesome.
Yes. So stopping and listening is one of the biggest tools. When our body it's always talking. The body's
Yes.
right. It's just we're not always listening. We're not always awake to it. We don't
Yeah.
always want to hear it because we're too busy or what have you. Um, so when we stop and listen, or when we notice that our mind is in the, oh my God, there's no way out, I'm freaking out, how am I going to handle this? I can hardly breathe. I often hear from women, I can hardly breathe, right? And I know that feeling. I had it a couple of weeks ago when my slave driver partner was telling me that all the things I had to do. but I'm not mentioning any names.
Your other partner, it's not me, for sure.
And I noticed my breathing was really shallow, and I'm like, and I didn't sleep that well. Sleep is my like saving grace. It's where I rejuvenate myself. So I wasn't sleeping well, and I was breathing like this, but I realized, yes, I had a lot on my plate, but was worse was what I had going on in my head.
Yeah, exactly. Much worse, because you can be doing the same amount of stuff and it not cause stress. And a lot of times it's, worrying about, I forgot something, I missed something, you got 5 things and you've only got 2 arms and 2 legs and you can't get to them all. But what we come back to, is there anything else you want to say that? Or
I just wanted to say that I stopped myself because I realized before I go give a retreat. So we're leaving in a month to give a retreat, and we're really excited. We're going to Portugal, taking 13 women. It's going to be super amazing. And I noticed that before I leave for a retreat, I'm kind of like, okay, I'm like scanning. Okay, from now till the day I leave, how much do I have to do? Can I get it all done? I don't want to be stressed the last week. I know that, so I'm kind of, but I realized the stress is mostly in my head. I make myself crazy. So so when in those moments when I do that, it's like, okay, Sharon, stop.
Yeah.
Come into the moment, because you're already projecting, you're already in fear from past things, right? So that's not living in the moment. You're already projecting a future that's going to be possibly a disaster. That's not living in the moment. Come back to this moment, breathe, and I use my breath. So, like I said, we shallow breathe when we are in fear state. So I belly breathe. I breathe down deep into my cells, because what happens when you take a deep breath in and you expand your diaphragm is you're stimulating the vagal nerve. And when you do that, miracles happen and your hormones regulate and your cortisol comes down. So these are a lot of things I'm going to be teaching in our next retreat, which you'll talk about in a minute. But these are things I'm so excited to teach. This is the latest and greatest studies, scientific evidence that has come out. So that's what I do. I stop, I do some vagal exercises to come back to the moment. And in the moment, I say, okay, so what is the next thing I need to do in this moment? And then I make a list of all the things that need to get done. And I say, what is that most important? We'll do that now. We'll do that now. We'll do that in this moment.
Excuse me, I do that as well almost every morning. I said, and one other thing, when I'm really in that, is also say to myself, to get myself in the present with that breathing you're saying, is all is well. Like when you think about it, let's say you're stressed about money or you're stressed about a person or whatever, in this very moment, nothing's happening. Like everything is okay. Right? As opposed to the old days when something was chasing you or whatever, we still have that left over. It's like all is well, all will be well. And I just say that to myself just to calm myself down. And then the exact same thing. What is it that I need to do next? What's the next logical step?
Wonderful.
And breaking down.
Beautiful.
So yeah, what I wanted to ask you before we talk a little bit about the retreat is, so a lot of people come to you that have been prescribed long-term indefinite medication to handle stress and hormones and everything like that, but they don't want to do that forever. Like they have their guidance that they have has not been, okay, do it for 6 months or then wean off it or whatever. It's just, this is how your new normal is. This is how you're going to live your life. Is that correct? A lot of people come to you like that and try to figure out a different way?
Yes, a lot of people reach out to me because either they are not happy being on medication. It's okay as a bridge for them, but they want to do it in a more natural way. That's a lot of women who reach out to me. They want to learn tips and techniques that could help their own body to come back to its natural balance. So if you have a fishbowl and you have a sick fish, you don't inject the fish with things. You clean up the terrain and the fish gets better.
Yeah.
Right. So we talk about how do we clean up the terrain, right? How do we create? I believe every cell has the ability to come back into homeostasis if given a healthy environment. And that means a healthy physical environment, emotional, mental, and spiritual environment. And it's individual for everyone. So I work with each women individually, because each woman needs something individually, you know. So it's all, but it's always holistic. It's always, I believe that true healing, we need to work all the levels, all the levels, and detox and cleanup is of utmost importance. Not only, I talked a bit about cleaning up from our environment, helping our body. Yes, our liver detoxes and our cells detox every millisecond of every day, but they need a little help these days because of our environment. But also cleaning up our thoughts and beliefs, start examining them, our thoughts and beliefs, cleaning up our environment so that we can live in a sparse. And if you live in a cluttered environment, I don't know, my head feels cluttered.
Yeah,
Right?
I feel stressed from that myself. Yeah, I feel
Clean up
stressed.
your environment. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, so you know, I think it's really important. What we're talking about is even just to be aware that if you've been told that at a certain age this is going to happen, or because you're a woman, you know, every month you have to go through these hormonal changes and you have to go through mood changes, and it's just all normal and natural, or, you know, to get stressed for the rest of your life, you got to be on medication. That there is other options for people that
Yes.
they can explore and not just accept, you know, kind of a lower existence, really, when we're feeling like we're always at the mercy of our moods and our emotions and our hormones, and we don't, or medication, and we have no control over it. It's very, I would imagine, very disempowering, as opposed to
yes,
ways that I can empower myself. Doesn't happen overnight, but with really consistent effort and work and maybe guidance, that I can really make a difference over the long run and re-empower myself.
beautiful, beautiful. And so the first thing I tell women when they call me is that you have an internal pharmacy within you, and you get to choose how to use it. You just have to know how to work with the dials.
You have to believe it first, and then
You
know
have
how
to
to work
believe
with
it.
it. Yeah.
And then when you're, most women are pretty when they contact me. And so if they do believe, then because I'm not doing the work, obviously I'm the coach.
Yeah.
So they have to be ready to do the work. And so on the nutrition level, very important. On a detox level, and then move on to possible supplementation, and looking for heavy metals. Heavy metals could be a big problem too. So I do testing. Men also are losing their hair that are calling me, and they could be nutrient deficient. They could be too toxic, cortisol. So, you know, it's always, so there's things like hair loss, mood swings, insomnia, night sweats, hot flash. And you know, it's amazing how many women feel better when they just are educated. And it saddens me, Leanne, really, that these are things we should teach girls and boys too, but at a young age.
Yeah.
You know, these are things we should learn in school. That, like you said, empowerment, right? That we have the power. We've been taught, a lot of us, I won't say everybody, to give our power away to others to tell us, you know, but
that for the last 3 years, completely. We don't know our own body. We have to give our power over to the government to tell us how and what we will be doing, where we will be going, what we will be put inside ourselves, and not at all be able to work for ourselves and empower ourselves with and decide for ourselves. So it's like, it's just, you know, it continues, right? So whether it's the old days of retraining, it's still such a mindset that we have to work through, right?
Yeah. And all the work Leanne and I do are about taking your power back as a
Yes.
woman, right? As a human being, as a person who is worthy, just because
Yeah.
you are, not because
Yeah.
you have to earn worth, right?
You don't have to earn the worth. Exactly. That's a big one. So let's just talk a little bit about why we're doing a wellness retreat. I think that, when you and I talked about, we love doing international retreats. We're doing one in Portugal that's a little bit more connecting with your intuition and really connecting with your guidance, your higher wisdom, and all that. This one, we're really feeling what seems to be really calling people right now is wellness and women's wellness. And so a
Yes.
lot of what we were talking about, whether it's the food that we eat, the exercise and the movement of our body, the fun and joy and passion, the mindset, the emotional, regulation, all of those things, sleep, and environment, all really contribute to wellness. And online and listen, or even go through a course. But imagine being able to take yourself out of your environment for a whole week to really do a reset, a wellness reset, where you're eating healthy. We've got, first, let's say, going to this beautiful retreat center in Costa Rica. So it's in the middle of the winter when often our energy's low anyways. And we're like out like a flower in the sun and the warmth. And this retreat center is designed specifically for health, wellness, and environmental sustainability. And it's right in the middle of the jungle and the ocean, right juxtaposition between both. So you really get to be in nature and benefit from the healing energy of nature. And but taking yourself away to be eating properly, to be exercising, to be sleeping, to be having fun, to be doing that inner work for a whole week. Imagine what's possible then when you come back home, and we continue to help you along the way as well to reintegrate with the new tools and techniques that you're learning. And we're really excited because we're going to be the main leaders and coaches through this process. We also are bringing two other amazing women. One is Tiffany, who's a fitness instructor focused for expertise in that area for over 30 years and does all sorts of yoga, Zumba, Pilates. She teaches water, aqua fitness, drumming fitness. She teaches everything you can imagine. So we can tailor to what people want to learn and try everything. And also Storm, who's a health coach, who's really very passionate about eating and our relationship with food and emotions and the connection to food. And we have a whole retreat staff as well at their center who will be, cooking for us really healthy, vegetarian, organic meals, and really helping us with everything along the way. So it's really an ability or an opportunity to really deep dive for yourself for a healthy wellness reset for mind, emotions, the body, and the spirit with a tribe of women. That's the other thing. When we connect women, we connect with each other and we motivate each other, and we create friendships that also hold us accountable afterwards when we come back. It'll be such an amazing experience. I'm really looking forward to it. What about you?
I'm really looking forward to it as well. Mostly because as you're talking about it, I'm envisioning all the glowing faces of all the people who have come on retreat with us, the before and after, and thinking about all the shifts that these women have had. I mean, it's one thing to hear it from me. I'm a retreat leader, and yes, people have had incredible shifts, but you could go on our webpage and hear the video testimonials about the shifts that women have, their energy increasing, their outlook on life just so much happier, and being able to reach their physical goal, whether it's be take off weight, have more energy, or to just, feel well and healthy. So when I think of the possibility for the people who come with us, I get really excited because Leanne and I are truly here to be of service. to whoever's ready, willing, and you know, it's and listen for if it's a calling for you to join us. Your soul will nudge you and
Yeah.
trust you in the right direction, right? But if
Yeah.
it's nudging you, listen, because sometimes we turn that off, right? Because of, oh, we have so many, you know, concerns and past beliefs of, oh, money and the time and the take off work and the kids. And then, you know, we just have, so if that's happening, but your soul's calling you, I invite you to really listen. And you never know, and I've learned this in the past few years, the magic happens when you don't listen to the concerns, but you start listening more and more to soul's calling. That's me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And some people may be wondering, you know, cripe, it's only like March, April, and you're talking about next February. It's February 24th to March 2nd, so it's like a Saturday to Saturday. But Costa Rica has become a hot retreat area, center, and or place to go, destination to go. It really is an incredible oasis. If you've never been to Costa Rica, there's so many things to visit and so forth, but it books up. And it's right now, if you actually were looking, it's booked up till past March and April next year. So we had to reserve it, lock it down, and we find that it also allows people to, the minute when they commit to something, they're committing to the change. So even though we may not be going till next winter, we'll be doing some work together as well. But just the actual commitment of putting a deposit down and saying, I'm going to do it. Yes, you'll start to see things open up for yourself. And we see this over and over. So we sold the Portugal retreat last fall and sold out very quickly. And so many women have already told us, yeah, I already saw changes that have been happening all through the fall and winter. And then we still haven't gone yet. We're going to go. But it's really important if you're thinking about something you'd always want to do. And we hear that from a lot of people. And we've had a couple of conversations this week already saying, yeah, I've always wanted to go. I was going to go with you guys last time, this time I'm going to go. And so don't miss out. We really just require a deposit of $500. And then there's a couple of payments so you can pay. You can save up through the whole year and pay a little bit and then a little bit. So it's not such a big thing. And it also helps because Costa Rica and any flight south can be very expensive as well. So if you buy early now, you book your flights, it's like half the price or even a third the price it is in the fall. So it's really worthwhile to kind of get those two little things locked in, and then you can start to pay the rest of it throughout. But it makes it really manageable. So if you're thinking about doing it, please reach out to us in the next little while. We don't want you to miss out. One of the women I was talking to this week said she wanted to go with us in 2020, but she didn't go, and she was thinking next year. Well, it's now 2024 before we're going to Costa Rica again. You never know what can happen, and so don't put it off, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
Anything else? We have we'll put the website. There's so much information there. There's a whole Q&A section too. So question and answer is what we usually get asked, like how big, how often, what is a typical day like? Can I stay longer before? What if I want to travel around? You can, and if you need a travel agent for the flights, all those kind of things. And if you're interested, you need to reach out to one of us. And we basically, what we try to do is kind of see if it's right for you, get a sense, give you as much information as possible, and see if you're right for the retreat too, because we're very particular making sure we have a group that's very cohesive and works together and plays together and learns and grows together. And not everyone is the right match, maybe not the right time for a certain person, maybe another time might be better for them. So it's like a bit like an application of process. We want to make sure we have the best group that creates an amazing experience, amazing adventure for everyone that's coming.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
So that's about it. Anything else?
Nope. Just again, Leanne and I both offer a free 30-minute call if you're interested in either of our services, please reach out. We'd be happy to have a chat with you to see if it's for you or not, to see if we could support you in your life's journey. Other than that,
yeah, I mean, we talked a lot about hormones and stress and everything, and so I always recommend Sharon to all people that I hear people saying that stuff. So definitely at least call her, and 30 minutes you can see, is it something for you to maybe get rid of the 3 years you've been struggling with, hormone, like menopausal symptoms and all that kind of stuff would be really
right.
awesome. So
And
recommend
if
that, do that.
you're in a
Don't
transition, and if your life, you're, let's say, leaving your job, or you want to add something because you're called to do something, but you don't know how to maybe make a living from it or something like that, reach out to Leanne. She's a genius. She's great when you're kind of trying to figure out what's the next piece for me in life. And even if you want to make money doing it, she can help you out with that. She's awesome.
Thank you very much. Awesome. Well, everyone have a great, great weekend. And we hope to hear from you. We hope to see you guys in Costa Rica next year. It'll be so much fun together. Oh my God. We're getting
definitely
so
have fun.
yeah, for sure. Awesome. All right. Take care, Sharon. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.